Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey everybody, what's good? Brad and Sean, the A and B show, back for the 7th time. Don't worry about that lady over there. We good now? Thank you.
I like it.
If you know me, you know my wife photographs everything, so she thought she was going to sneak in. And I thought I was one of my 5 kids. So, anyway, sorry about that. Hey, we can tell we're a little rusty. We've been on the road, around the road, on the holiday schedule, all those things. So back again, a little more in, I think, than out now. And so that'll be better. Sean Valancourt, my cohort, or Valancourt. Frenchman. The man of many cultures. The one, the only, rejecting the West Coast flair.
Why do you say that?
You always have some hate to say about the West Coast.
That's not true. That's not true. West Coast is very, very... I mean, right now, honestly, I was on vacation. Awesome. Went down to San Diego. A little cold.
See?
Well, what I was expecting.
It's January, folks. It's January.
Yeah, but, it's cold everywhere, I guess. I don't know. What I do know is that... we were in Mexico, my wife and I, down there on a cruise, and Mazatlan. We were in Mazatlan when all hell broke loose. So
Sean found himself in the middle of a movie.
But nevertheless, we're back here, back at it. Lots of things to talk about in sports, as we all know. Brad, how are you doing anyways, though, in that whole entire Christmas, New Year's break?
Doing well, man. Had a great time with the family, kicking around, just living our best lives. So, here we are. Seen a lot of football, seen a lot of things. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
We are Monday right before the Cowboys-Tampa Bay game, so we'll pick that game here, I think, at the end of this segment. Some things to talk about.
Yeah.
One thing we should probably check, I think that the last time the Cowboys won a road playoff game, Tom Brady was a freshman in high school. So just something to think about there while you're making your pick for later. Saw some real crazy games this weekend. Obviously, my Seahawks didn't do, well, they did as well as we expected them to do against San Francisco. A bit interesting of a game for the first half. I thought they were competitive, and then...
Super competitive. They had to play mistake-free football all 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And in the third quarter, it just all fell apart. It just all fell apart. But the thing is, though, in that first half, it was unbelievable football. And I think it's got to be the toughest. That's the thing that I think we saw in this Wildcard division, this Wildcard round, was there's so many divisional matchups.
Yep.
Teams playing themselves for a third time.
Yeah.
Which makes familiarity just that much more difficult in order to win, Like, when you think about San Fran and Seattle, and we were at that game on December 15th, the second one, and that was not close by any stretch of the imagination.
Except for the score. But
the score looked close, but
it was
let's
not
face
a close
it.
game. This game was much more competitive.
Yeah.
I think you can really break down this game into 3 plays. One's a strip sack on Geno that ended up being a turnover. We get points there. Maybe it's a different ball game. And then Ryan Neal,
totally different ball game,
comes back in after missing some games with a knee. Took a really bad angle on Debo twice. One ended up being that 76-yard backbreaker, and then the other one was that other long run.
That was crazy.
So.
That was crazy.
Some defensive breakdowns. I think it exposed who you are. But if you're a Seattle fan like I am, and Sean is turning into, the future is bright. We have a top 5 pick thanks to Russell Wilson imploding this year. Some high second-round picks as well as our own first-round picks, so the future looks to be bright.
It's
rebuild that
bright.
Defense. I think the offense looks good. Geno Smith, all things sound like he wants to come back on a team-friendly deal. So,
well, that's something to even talk about right there, is that Geno Smith actually has now the franchise record for most passing yards for any quarterback. And we're talking about Russell Wilson, and we're talking about Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah. Well, you go back even further, and it's Jim Zorn and Dave Craig who are putting up numbers in
back in
obviously
the day,
a different era.
right? Yeah. And like, so you have the 17 game schedule. So, okay, so you have one extra game. What is that on average? 200 maybe more yards.
Yeah.
Maybe a passing touchdown, Still yet, to be able to do that was something else. I just thought that Geno Smith, there's a couple times where I thought that maybe he should have ran as opposed to trying to look for an open receiver.
Yep.
DK Metcalf had probably playoff DK Metcalf is something else.
Yeah.
Absolutely something else.
Absolutely.
Playoff DK Metcalf was unbelievable. He was there catching balls, making it look like, he's a premier receiver. Tyler Lockett.
Looking like his contract is what it looked like. It was interesting. Tyler Lockett both, I'll let you get back to Tyler in a second, but Tyler and DK both finished with over 1,000 yards receiving. Yeah. DK had 90 catches. I felt like DK had a relatively pedestrian season.
90 catches is very low, yeah.
That's not very low if you think about where you are in the history of the world.
Okay, that's true, I guess. But, I mean, considering that I think in his rookie year he was over 100.
Yeah, we're talking about 10 passes.
Yeah. And we're also talking about his touchdown, those guys' touchdown ratios. They both had 1,000 yards, but I think Lockett had 9 touchdown catches, and I think DK Metcalf had 8 touchdown catches.
Yeah, we're a little low there.
It was a little low, but the thing is, though, is that nobody gave Seattle a chance. First off,
yeah,
and what a way to get in. You needed to beat the Rams, and then hopefully the Lions will beat the Green Bay Packers, and that's all that everybody was listening to was Green Bay's got a 12% chance, and you're watching this unfold. It's is this 12% chance actually going to work out for Green Bay? Are they going to sneak
Detroit,
in?
Detroit or Green Bay getting in the playoffs?
Yeah, Green Bay was a 12% chance, and then everything fell into line to where they just had to beat the Lions. They just had to beat them. And
Dan Campbell led Lions. If you listen to the show at all, you know that I'm a big Dan Campbell fan. So.
Dude, he did something.
Solid.
He did something. Well, not just that. I mean, Detroit has the first winning record in I don't know how long. Secondly, besides all that, I mean, Seattle put up what they could. There were some defensive breakdowns. There was definitely some penalties in the third and the fourth quarter that was backbreakers.
Yeah, we really missed Jordan Brooks, who's out for the year with an ACL. Maybe more glaring was Bobby Wagner. Cody Barton's not the answer at linebacker, but we'll get that figured out.
But I thought to myself, Seattle's future's bright.
Yeah.
You got a lot of draft picks to look from.
Yeah. If you had told anyone back in April that this was going to be the outcome,
I think people would be laughing at you. Yeah.
Every single fan would have been taking it.
Kenneth Walker III, what a great pick he ended up becoming.
I mean, you make the argument that Seattle has both the offensive and defensive rookies of the year on their roster.
You could make that
Tariq
argument.
Woolen is quite the man himself. So
but
only team to start 2 rookie tackles through the season in forever. First team in 40 years to start 2 rookie tackles out in a playoff game.
Yeah.
So,
but let's talk about Mr. Irrelevant here.
Yeah, Mr. Brock Purdy.
Unbelievable. Yep. That guy came out. It reminds me of McPherson last season on Cincinnati. Just the kicker there for Cincinnati. It was just money, right? Yep. He didn't miss anything. He just had that confidence going in, and you just see him play it, and he was making lights out plays. And I hate to say it,
at least McPherson went to LSU and played at a big division school. I mean, Brock Purdy's from Iowa State.
I know.
They're not known for being a Power 5,
But let's look at that there as well, right? So everybody's talking about Seattle. You have probably 2 of the best wide receivers in football. Well, it could be said about the same thing there on San Fran as well. You have 2 unbelievable wide receivers. You have a star-studded tight end and a great running back.
Yeah, a couple great running backs.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
a monster offensive line. For a rookie to find success, that's a fantastic spot for him to land. It's a Kyle Shanahan-friendly system with that offensive roster and that defense. I mean, they're a juggernaut. I would love the Brock Purdy story if it was anywhere but San Francisco. But they look probably to be the favorite in the NFC. They're so stacked out that,
and especially I want to get to the Minnesota game down the line there. The Paper Tigers there. But let's just move on to that Jacksonville Chargers game. Los Angeles Chargers. I shut the game off in the first half. I thought it was over.
I did too. I went to dinner and then I was watching it.
I thought it was over.
Yeah, I was watching it at dinner. I thought they started coming back. I'm like, hey, so we all started watching, and yeah.
So
Talk about a tale of two halves for Trevor Lawrence.
I'm telling you, wasn't it like 3 picks or something like that? 4 picks in the first half, and then like ice cold blood in that guy's veins, man.
Yeah.
He just came back, didn't even let it phase him.
Did Dabo Swinney call him at halftime and give him the riot act, or what do you think happened there?
I don't know.
Doug Peterson just pulled up. You know, Doug Peterson's from Ferndale.
And I did not know that. I do know that Doug Peterson's got a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, but so Ferndale, folks, is about an hour north of where we live. So I'm just trying to clean Sean into where we are.
No, I got it. I knew exactly where he was talking about. I'm just saying.
He just didn't know he's from Ferndale.
Yeah,
so.
I did not know that.
Big Doug Peterson fans here.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, he can you imagine where Trevor Lawrence would be after last season if he didn't have Urban Meyer as his head coach?
Yeah, well, maybe, right? We always get better through adversity, so maybe he appreciates it more. I don't know.
What I do know is that I owe Trevor Lawrence an apology. I remember the first half of the season, it looked like a bust. I think they literally, they had 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah.
And something like 6 losses or something like that.
I don't know if they were that deep, but
it was pretty bad.
Yeah, they were pretty far. And then here they come roaring back and making some noise. Brandon Staley, the Chargers coach, deserves to be fired for this game, for this season. Not necessarily the game, but for how the season worked out.
I don't know. I mean, there's so much expecting, and the thing is, you have a look at Justin Herbert at 101 touchdowns his first 3 years. And to me, it's like, you know, this guy was on every commercial. It seemed like I was watching. Like, he was in all these commercials. You know, he's a great quarterback, but let's face it, you haven't done anything yet. You haven't won a playoff game. Trevor Lawrence does have that over you. You haven't won anything else. You're
he was rookie of the year.
You did. Yeah, you were. You know, like, do you really need all these commercials? You haven't done anything. Patrick Mahomes right now is getting mustaches drawn on him because he has a Super Bowl. So
Andy Reid's the star of that commercial.
he is. He was great. Fantastic.
I think that Brandon Staley probably gets fired for this. I think his team lacks the focus that they need to have.
How many
Look at Nick Bosa or Joey, but whatever, one of the Bosa brothers that had the 2 meltdowns that ended up costing him the game. You got to be able to control that.
How many head coaches are you going to go through?
I mean, they haven't gone through many, so they could roll the dice again.
What I love, though, is the unveiling of the Chargers' new logo.
I didn't see it.
No, and it was like the Charger bolt over the wings of the Falcons. It's sad.
Hilarious.
That was something that you had well in hand. Let it get away from you. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man.
Momentum kills.
You know, it looks like it's going to be... it doesn't look like. It's going to be Kansas City versus Jacksonville. Who knows what could happen in that game. But the Buffalo and Cincinnati is going to be something.
I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, well, let's get into the Buffalo game. Let's get into the Bills. That was a really rough game to watch.
Mike McDaniels gave that game back to Buffalo.
He did in the third quarter.
And the fourth quarter.
Well, that third quarter
You can't get You can't get out
Josh Allen was rattled.
Yes.
Rattled.
Yes.
Rattled. I mean, he had 2 picks and a fumble.
Yep.
And it's like, here's his defense.
They got him on the ropes.
They have him on the ropes. They're there in striking distance.
Yep.
You're 3rd and 19 because you took that penalty and then you took that sack. And you still decide to try to throw it. Mm-hmm. You try to throw it with your 3rd-string quarterback.
Yep.
3rd and 19. You gave all the momentum right back to Buffalo.
They just couldn't get back even that last drive. They couldn't get out of the huddle before 10 seconds. They weren't setting the kid up for success. They really, I think they had a shot to go back down the field.
It was bad. Yeah. And let's face it, at that point then, Josh Allen felt that relief. It's like, oh, there's a short field. I can manage this.
Yeah.
And then the butterflies were gone. But that's the thing. Divisional round. Yeah. Divisional matchup. These guys seen each other. Yeah. Miami won the first one. Very, close. But again, mental errors from Josh Allen. Fumbling the ball, doing things like that.
Man, you just are taking a page from my playbook. I don't even have to slam Josh Allen.
Listen. Josh Allen. I saw a lot of things there. That second interception, though, wasn't his fault. That was his receiver slowing down, and then all of a sudden realizing, oh, he's actually going to make it out to me, and then that was terrible, But the thing is, though, is that here's the other thing too. Tony Romo calling that game. What was that? You stick in a game long enough, you can make it competitive. Thanks, Tony. I needed that.
I enjoyed Tony Romo. I love how
I enjoyed that. You stick in a game long enough. That's right. Yeah. You might make it competitive. Very, very astute observation.
Well, he's selling Michelob Ultra these days, so.
It's the same thing with Al Michaels with that field goal winner.
Well,
just like,
I don't want to speak too far out of turn, but I think Al Michaels might have had some money on the game, so.
Anyways, Buffalo wins the way it should be, but man, that was scary.
You gotta feel a certain kind of way about Cincinnati going into Buffalo next week.
Yeah, I do feel a certain kind of way, but don't forget that Cincinnati had their problems against a
division opponent.
Yeah, exactly, against Baltimore, against their third round.
No, he's the second.
Second round?
Yeah, Tyler Huntley's their second backup.
So,
Which, if you're Baltimore, you really have to think about why didn't Lamar Jackson want to play? Because it sounds like he could have put a brace on and played. Who knows? But more importantly, he didn't travel with the team.
Yeah, it's kind of...
So, is this the beginning of the divorce for Baltimore and Lamar Jackson? Does he feel so disrespected they didn't lock him up that he was like, oh, if you didn't want to pay me, I'm not going to risk getting Robert Griffin. Remember when Robert Griffin had that playoff game against the Seahawks
Seattle, and that was the beginning of the end, really, of Robert Griffin.
Yeah, you wonder if you think Lamar Jackson was like, oh, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to come out and sacrifice this potentially career-threatening.
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, man, you got to wonder if someone makes a run at Lamar this year and what Baltimore ends up doing with it, because it seems to be a fracture there.
We also saw history there too, where they punched out that ball like Huntley was trying to cross the plane, punch out the ball, 98-yard return.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't give the ball to J.K. Dobbins. Excuse me, there in that situation, but
John Harbaugh probably needs to go there.
It's a Harbaugh moment.
He needs to go.
It's a Harbaugh moment. Where's he going to go? San Diego? Los Angeles?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he goes to the Chargers.
Yep.
He needs to go, though. He's done there. I mean...
You know what would be the most fantastic NFL coach hiring for me, if we could really get down in the nitty-gritty, is if Harbaugh leaves Michigan, the brother, John.
Yeah.
Harbaugh leaves Michigan and goes to Denver, and it's him and Russell Wilson.
I heard rumors about that, though.
Oh, please.
I heard rumors about that. That folks, he might be looking at that.
I think if Sean Payton doesn't go to Denver, I think Denver maybe wants Harbaugh. Oh, please let it happen.
Listen,
there have never been two cornier dudes in the same meeting room than it'll be if those two are on the same.
But now, so these two teams, and let's face it, Joe Burrow's had his struggles in that game too.
Yeah.
So they got the cobwebs out. Now it's going to be a monster game. Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, let's see if they can get healthy. They have some line problems.
But Cincinnati Buffalo, that's a monster game. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, that's the game of the weekend.
Yeah, and then after that, whoever wins out of that, personally to me, I think they got a good chance, even if KC goes through Jacksonville, of beating KC and going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you have to worry about Kansas City's ability to get to the Super Bowl. But
yeah. It's legit now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Buffalo, Cincinnati, San Francisco Super Bowl. One of those. Yeah. One of those two teams comes out of the AFC and plays San Francisco.
Don't disagree. Now, the surprise of this wildcard weekend so far, that Minnesota Giants game.
The only surprise really was that Justin Jefferson couldn't catch the ball. Justin Jefferson's last 3 games, he didn't crest 50 yards receiving. In the last 3 games.
That's crazy.
That's wild, right?
But did you see DJ? 70. I think he had 60 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
278 yards passing.
Yeah, he set a record.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Brian Dable leaves Buffalo as the OC, goes over to the Giants, does all sorts and DJ was doing nothing for 2 seasons.
Yeah. He would have flashes, but he really broke out. Here's what I would ask you, is if you are an NFL team and you could get Lamar Jackson with a fully guaranteed $50 million a year for 5 years, or you get Daniel Jones at $35 million a year for 5 years with some outs, which one, like...
Wouldn't you stick with DJ right now?
I would.
He's winning.
I would. I think because you imagine what you can do at $15 million a year.
Exactly. And he's a serviceable quarterback. He's out there. He's doing.
You're gonna have that guy, and then you can have a top tier, or two really like a good receiver and a good running back, or an ultra top tier receiver or something. For the same price. I don't know why you wouldn't go that way.
I agree with you. And Minnesota looks like the paper tigers that they were.
Listen, you can't trust Kirk Cousins. No. You just can't. Everyone knows that. Kirk Cousins is great unless the game matters. Then Kirk Cousins is not that great. Okay,
Anywho. So
the sun shines on a squirrel's ass every once in a while, right?
The sun shines. What do you say? The sun shines on a squirrel's ass
every once in a while.
Man, or look, my other one was what? Every now and then, steak. A dumpster gets steak. It's like
broken clocks are right twice a day. You know what I'm saying, folks? Every once in a while, there's some shit happens. Doesn't mean it's true.
And now
Kirk Cousins hate continues over here on the A&B show.
Yeah, and now we have. Why it's the primetime game, I don't know. It's because it's Tom Brady. That's the only reason why. But you got the Bucks with not a losing record. They're 9-8 against a pretty strong looking Cowboys team. But the thing is, I don't think Dak Prescott.
I think that you hit on the head earlier with your portrayal of Minnesota. I think that the Dallas Cowboys are also paper tigers.
Yeah. But they came through some adversity, like some legit adversity, because they lost their starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, for at least, I think, 6 games. They lost him.
Yeah. And old Connor, that was his name?
Yeah.
Was his name Connor?
Yeah.
Connor Rush, right?
Yeah.
The widest name. Jerry Jones loves him.
Kept him in there.
Yeah. So, Dak, what's up?
Well, we'll see tonight. I mean, I am personally thinking that his sleep country, he's going to go back and do his sleep number commercial.
You know what else they're saying? So I think they're distancing themselves from Dak now, because now it's 80% of NFL players use sleep number beds, and it's no longer just Dak Prescott. So.
My favorite though is that he said like how his IQ goes up and everything goes up, and it's like, dude, I saw some of your boneheaded plays.
His IQ goes from 80 to 84. Anyway, I don't even know if IQ numbers are real. Is that low? Is 84 low?
84 is low, buddy. Okay. Yeah, that's.
I thought it was on a scale of 100.
No, that's that's below the average. Yeah.
Wow.
100 is like the average. So, what are you saying about Dak right now? I don't know.
I think he's a below average quarterback. That's what I think.
But here's the thing: if Tampa wins this, are they legit? Do they have a chance?
No.
Yeah.
Who are they going to play?
They got to play the Eagles probably. No, because they're a divisional winner, so they're going to have to go and play. Because I think the Giants will have to play the Eagles.
Yeah. The Giants go to the Eagles, and then Tampa goes to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough.
So I don't think they become the favorites.
No.
I think if you're the... so I think Tampa wins by 2 scores tonight.
Yeah.
I think
you're right. I don't think Dallas has got the legs.
Until playoff Tom shows us he's no longer playoff Tom. I think you have to believe in playoff Tom.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm on board with that. And that concludes our wild card breakdown here.
Oh, interesting.
Man.
Moving on, let's shift topics.
Yes. Hey, I don't know if you've been catching any of these Kraken games here.
I watch the Kraken. I'm becoming a Ryan Rybalkin hockey fan where I only watch my own team. So
8 wins in a row, buddy. This is a second year team
in your pseudo home country.
I guess they haven't lost in Canada. No. Yeah, they beat Boston.
Yep.
One of the only teams to do it.
Yep. They only had 5 losses before, like 5 true losses up to that point.
Yeah. So I mean. Yeah. You have to look at Seattle now like this is a real team with real talent, and they're moving the right way. I always thought that their coach, when they picked him, that was a good pick. He was a good coach. You got to develop, and they're developing that culture in Seattle.
Yeah, Yeah, we are. I think the change from goaltender, putting Grubauer down to 2 has been a healthy switch. So I think we just run a better defensive scheme out. Now I think, Matty Beaners is still running the run. Vince Dunn has been playing amazing. Ryan Donato's another one that's just, they all seem to be clicking. The chemistry, to your point, is there. So we'll see.
Well, look
see
at some
what
of the
happens.
guys that you have there, though. Like Jordan Eberle, unbelievable
Just
player.
woke up this morning percentage points ahead in the West.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing is that right now, you look at it, like Vegas right now is running away in the Pacific.
Well,
running away with stuff.
they're 2 percentage points behind us already, son.
Yeah. But
They're not running away with anything.
they're there.
They're
and then
there.
you have to look at Seattle and Los Angeles. So those are 3 big heavy hitters there.
Yeah.
Then you have on the other side there, like Edmonton is struggling, and that's something to say right now. Edmonton is struggling because of their goaltending woes. Although I think right now they're trying out Jack Campbell again. But you have 2 of the most potent scorers in the NHL in the past at least 3 years. And they're still going to have a hard time in the playoffs.
Yeah. So for us non-hockey folks, hockey usually starts kicking into gear about now. Is this where they start really playing?
So now we're starting to, like I'd say after All-Star break is when you really start seeing
When's All-Star break? February?
All-Star break is coming up in like late January, early February, and then that's when you start seeing like the really tight, gritty hockey, because it's like every game is like a playoff game at that point then, because anything can happen. Like if you have a look at St. Louis, who is last in the league. This is back in 2018, and they were last in the league at the end of January, and they ended up winning the cup.
Yeah.
They ended up running the table and winning the cup.
It's always the thing about hockey. It's kind of like baseball. The seasons are so long that they don't,
It's 82 games.
It's kind of runs.
It's 82 games. The thing is, though, is that those runs like that are very few and far between.
What I do appreciate is when you jump in the Wayback Machine now, you only go back 5 years instead of 15. So
well, that did just happen.
It is getting better.
Yeah.
It is getting better.
I will say this, though. I mean, this year you have so much happening. The Leafs, they are actually competitive right now, but they got problems too, man. I mean, it's like, what's going to happen here?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to make the playoffs. And then first round exit.
Well, let's talk.
That's a crystal ball.
Let's talk about.
I can't even get odds in that in Vegas. If the Leafs are losing the first round, no one will take my bet.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this here for like intelligent people here for a moment. Okay.
Well, this could be a hard conversation.
All right. So. So the thing is that you're looking at the Leafs right now. This is all or nothing for them. You do another first round exit, they blow that team up. That team's getting blown up. So
A year too late. But yeah.
you think?
I don't know. I'm just talking. I just told you I didn't watch my own team. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, they took Tampa to 7 last year. They took Tampa to 7. There were some arguable calls. I would say so. But the thing is, though, is playoff hockey. You gotta take that off. That's gotta go. You can't be hiding on excuses. Now they're talking about, in the trade deadline for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Ryan O'Reilly getting traded to the Leafs. Ryan O'Reilly from the St. Louis Blues. One of the best two-way players, I'd say, behind Patty Bergeron.
So those guys go both ways?
That's it. They go both ways. But here's the thing. You already have Austin Matthews, and you already have Johnny Tavares. Where does Ryan O'Reilly fall?
Do those guys go both ways too?
No, they're offensively minded.
Okay.
Ryan O'Reilly would have to go into your third slot.
So the hair gel fellas, the Austin.
He's not a hair gel fella.
Oh, the Austin Matthews guy.
The
hair gel folks.
Yeah. So he'd have to go on your third line. But the thing is, though,
but you need to have a strong third line.
You do.
That's
need
how
to
you
have
win. I don't even know anything. I know you got to have that.
You need to have 4 good lines, and you need to have some grinders. That's the thing. You look at Tampa with Patty Maroon and with Corey Perry last year. Those guys are grinders. Corey Perry was on Montreal the year before that, grinding. You need grinders, and we haven't had that. The problem is that I always felt that the GM in Toronto, Kyle Dubas, was always building a team with all of his upper echelon stars to get you to the playoffs. But the playoffs is a different beast. That's when it's grinding.
You got to have the hitters.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't be going in there playing some finesse hockey. It's not going to happen.
Got to have some fixers on that team. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's it.
You know, some guys that are in there just get a little.
But now Seattle, right now, second year, they're already talking about trade deadline for them. Now, they picked up.
Try to make some moves.
Yeah, so it looks like Klingberg. They might be going after John Klingberg on defense, bolster up that defense, and Seattle could be problems. They could be problems in the West. It's like they can.
Yeah.
They could pull this out.
It's every 100 years, Seattle's good.
Hey, the Metropolitans did win the Stanley Cup.
Listen,
That's
Mariners made the playoffs, Seahawks made the playoffs, Kraken should make the playoffs this year and just call it a day.
I will say this, okay? So you have a look. Toronto, at least we won the Grey Cup, so I don't know. But the thing is,
It feels like a participation trophy.
Whatever. We won the Grey Cup. We won the NBA championship not that long ago. You know, Seattle, they won the Super Bowl back in 2013. So, you know, they're due for one, right?
Folks, if you're listening at home, that's Sean's third P&W hate comparison. Remember, famously, he said he does not do that.
Oh, wait! I forgot about your Sounders.
On the way around.
They did win the MLS Cup. They did, yeah.
The CONCACAF Cup.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So
We're good at all the European things,
Yeah.
which is what Canada desperately wants.
We desperately want that. But here's the thing. Is you have all that happening. Like the Mariners look good going into next season. Your hockey team, the Kraken, looks super good, and things are looking up for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So
future's bright.
it's nice.
Future's
It's
bright
nice.
in the rainy P&W.
All right,
Mark it down. Shifting gears.
all right. I got a question for you.
Okay.
So right now, two major things are happening in sports. Two major chases, right? You got Ovechkin just beat Gordie Howe.
Alex Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin.
For the uninformed. But we got to talk to our listeners like they don't care about hockey like I don't.
Alex Ovechkin is now sitting alone, pretty at number 2 for goals overall. Over 800 goals now. He's chasing Gretzky. Probably going to take him another year or two, but he's doing something that
What's
nobody
the games played comparison for Gretzky and for?
It was still
Ovechkin?
82 games. It was 82
Well, I mean, I
games.
don't mean that. I just mean like, how many games played did Gretzky have to get the goal record?
Well, Gretzky played for 20 years.
Okay, so a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, Ovechkin is what now? It was 2004 when he was drafted. So
Almost 20 years.
almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But he's a natural goal scorer. He's changed the way that the game is played in power play. He's changed the way that the game is played as far as just where to snipe from and stuff. He's a natural goal scorer. And then you have
Is he more revolutionary than Wayne Gretzky?
I mean, Wayne Gretzky, you can't even do what Gretzky did back then, where they had Gretzky's office where you're just behind the net and you're able to pass it out in front of to other people. Because now they'll just come and pester you behind the net. But they never wanted to do that because it's just like, oh, he could come and wrap around, right? Now the game has evolved since then, right? But Gretzky, he still had 50 goals in 39 games, 92 goals in a season. Like, those are things that are probably not going to be caught unless somebody goes on a significant tear. But the thing is, though, still...
Didn't we just almost have the goals in the games thing, though?
Well, somebody almost got 50 goals in 50 games.
Yeah.
That's a high bar.
Yeah.
But it's
You're
not
saying
50
did
goals
it.
in 39 games. Yeah. But, you know, those are certain records. Like, there's his points record. Who knows? I don't think that's ever going to be touched. His assist record, I don't think that's ever going to be touched. But the fact that you can touch his goals record is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have the king, LeBron James,
The self-proclaimed king.
the self chasing down,
I get it twisted.
chasing down Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record.
Yeah.
And people are already crowning this guy. I'm not one of them, but there are people that are crowning him as the number 1 basketball player of all time.
Yeah. Is Kareem the number 1 basketball player of all time right now?
Well, I would.
No.
I would put Kareem in the top 5. Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Sure. Top 5.
But,
But is
I
he
mean,
the best ever
let's
because he
face
can
it.
score? No.
Well, yeah, Michael Jordan, because still, you have to look at it like was it points per game?
Yeah. I mean, LeBron's so far ahead of everybody. I mean, he's a prolific scorer.
He is, but you have to do both sides. Which
You have to wonder though if LeBron could score the way he scores now if Michael Jordan hadn't forced the league to change the defensive rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there was still hand checking involved and hard fouls and all those things.
But yeah, you're absolutely correct because it's definitely now more offensively minded.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting away with some of the stuff that those Pistons were getting away with back in the day, man.
No, they would suspend. They would suspend the whole team.
Like they treated Michael Jordan like he was just like he owed him milk money. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They were such bullies. They made Scottie Pippen sit out a playoff game and said he had a migraine.
What?
And maybe he did, but like it's because they beat his ass.
What record do you think is more significant?
Well, I'm partial to basketball, but I think that there's been so many great scorers. I mean, even as much as I hate Karl Malone, he was still a prolific scorer.
He was up there.
Still couldn't catch, Kareem. And then you have LeBron, who's doing it in a couple hundred games less than either of those two players. LeBron's playing on Olympic teams. LeBron's playing deep in the playoffs every year. All those things, I think that record is really one that hasn't been even thought of being able to be broken. I think we thought Karl had the best shot at it.
Yeah.
You look at what Kobe and Michael were able to do, the other guys in the top five. Just couldn't, you never felt like it was ever in danger.
Right.
Then you got LeBron playing, phenomenally in his 18th year. Still able to, this is a Monday night. We saw him almost have a triple-double last night. Anyway, I almost went on a tangent. Philadelphia and the Lakers last night. I don't know if you saw this game or not. The Lakers down 1. Lakers are down 1. 16 seconds left, and then Russell Westbrook tries to take Joel Embiid one-on-one and just doesn't even get a shot off. And LeBron just walks in the locker room. I don't get how you... Listen, that just wouldn't happen on a Kobe Bryant team. That would not happen on a Michael Jordan team.
That would have happened on a Kobe Bryant team in his first year.
Sure, but not at the end. Like we're talking about the end of Kobe's career, at the end of Michael's career.
Yeah.
You're not going to have another all-star player go one-on-one in a mismatch with 16 seconds left and not get a shot off.
Yeah.
Someone's getting punched in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like that's just the move. But
yeah, I don't know.
All that to say, I just think that
you think that Kareem's record breaking Kareem's record is more than breaking Gretzky's record?
I'm just not as familiar with the games played for Ovechkin as I am for Gretzky, and I just think that the way LeBron's doing it in such a short amount of time compared to what Karl Malone and I felt that way. So initially when this happened with Karl Malone and Karl was chasing Kareem, I thought, he's just playing so long with so many games, he's bound to do it.
Yeah.
So it didn't really feel like it was this chase.
Right. But doesn't it make you sit there and go to yourself, though, that LeBron James has kept himself in such great shape to be this competitive still this far down into his career? Like, it's not like this is the twilight of his career, and he's still out there doing stuff,
He almost had a triple-double last night. Like, that's crazy.
But same could be said about Ovechkin right now as well. He's in the twilight of his career.
Again, I don't know the speed that Ovechkin's been able to do it compared to Gretzky, right? I know that LeBron's been... seasons faster than Kareem has. So that's my
your
thought of
thought of
why I think it's more impressive.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, there's like 3 players that have 800 goals. 3 in the history of the National.
Is one Mario Lemieux? Is one Mario Lemieux?
No, one is not Mario Lemieux. One is
shit. Is it Bobby Hull?
No. It's Gordie Howe.
God, that's right. You even told me that.
Gordie Howe. And Gordie Howe...
Sorry, Gordie.
Gordie Howe played till like he was 40-something. He came back and played at 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact...
Gordie Howe walked, so... what's his name?
Gretzky could fly?
No. Who's the guy that's playing in Russia right now that owns the team? He played for the Penguins for a long time.
Oh, Jaromir Jagr?
Yeah. Gordie Howe walks, so Jagr could fly.
And Yager's number 4. It's 790 or something like that. Wow. Yeah.
Man, I always thought Mario Lemieux was so good, but turns out he sucks, huh?
Well, no, it's not that he sucked. It's just that Mario Lemieux really was limited. He didn't play as long. He did have...
Was he a sissy boy? Oh, shit. Swing and a miss.
He did have Hodgkin's lymphoma, which he
Just a bit outside.
Sissy boy. I don't know about that. Oh my gosh. You get that?
And there, folks, is Brian's limited view of hockey.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. He was just limited because, he had a lot of injuries and he had cancer right in between, and it was tough. It's tough. But he was also one of the first people to have the whole entire Hall of Fame induction waived, waiting the 5 years, where he was inducted into the Hall of Fame after he retired.
Going to make it, probably.
They inducted him. Then he came back and he played, so he was the only Hall of Famer to actually play. You know what I mean? He was in the Hall of Fame and he's back. He's playing with Sidney Crosby to help Sid kind of there in his rookie year. It's crazy. It's crazy. And isn't that crazy to think too?
Yeah.
The Sid's been playing that long. It's like,
yeah, that is crazy.
Oh, man.
That's crazy.
But and so we're looking at it. It's amazing that we're looking at certain players coming to the twilight of the career, and it's amazing that in sports that somehow somebody else seems to always come up, and then now we have Connor McDavid in hockey, in basketball. You could say Jason Tatum is...
It's 100% Jason Tatum.
You know what I mean? And
the kid is phenomenal.
And football, I mean, have your pick. There's a few quarterbacks that are just unbelievable.
I think we're going to a better stretch of NFL quarterbacks now than we have in the past 10 years.
So, I mean, with every twilight, there's somebody else coming, and they're hungry. And
you go into baseball, right? You got Julio Rodriguez coming in. You've got all these other great players.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah. That brings us into our... you being right takes us to our one-on-one questions. You ready for the one-on-one today, Sean?
I don't hear that very often. Yes. Let's hear this.
Sean, I know you love impressions.
All right.
So you have to choose one. You can only do one for the rest of your life.
Only do one.
Sean Connery or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I knew you were gonna. Wow. I like both.
I know you do. I've heard both.
But if it's gonna be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and especially
that's the one you're only gonna do for the rest of your life?
for the rest of my life. Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor during the time when the mudslides were happening.
Oh, specifically.
Yes.
I think you just
everybody come out there, stop the mudslides. I stopped the mudslides with my own biceps. If all the people of California come out there, link arms, we can stop the mudslides all together. Everybody.
I will say that this year I've signed up for Arnold Schwarzenegger's daily motivational email. It does not disappoint. It is everything you would hope and dream.
And let me tell you something, that's tough.
You get in your inbox every day.
Because I love Connery, man.
Yeah, I know. I knew that'd be a hard one.
When you hear Connery back in the day, in that old Bond movies, Pushy.
Yeah.
Pushy galore. My pilot.
This guy.
Pushy.
Anyway.
Hello, Pushy.
Sean's referring to his cat.
That's right. Stick it in your ear, Trebek. All right. Hey, I got a one-on-one question.
All right, let's hear it.
So, usually, I mean, you look at Bill's Mafia and you're there going to yourself, wow, they're so giving, they do a lot of things. Have you been absolutely surprised at how the league has come around Hamlin, around number 3 there?
No, I don't think. I mean, I think you're nailed on the head. I think that I would say I'm not surprised. I think the league as a whole, the fans, have always been supportive of humans, and so I think you see that a lot. Guys go down with injuries, and they get back up, and people clap for them on the way out, and it sounds like you would do that in every sport, but you don't, and it happens more often than not than football. That everyone understands that there is a certain level of violence and just kind of devastation happening on every play. Like, I thought about it last night when I watched Daniel Jones sneak across the goal or the line for the first down, and Saquon Barkley pushed him, and then that guy hit him high and bent him all the way back. And I thought, oh, in 10 years from now, Daniel Jones is going to remember that, when he can't get out of bed in the morning or his back hurts.
Right.
So I think there's always a level of appreciation for that. We've come so far in always knowing that torn ACLs and pec muscles and quad injuries and those things, like the player's out for the year, but it's a surgery, it's a routine thing. There's never really, we rarely see career-ending injuries happen on the field anymore.
Right.
But when you see people that you would regard as mountains of men, the toughest guys around, the linemen just sobbing uncontrollably, not able to watch what was happening to Damar Hamlin, I think that all struck a chord with everybody.
Yeah.
And everyone was pulling for that kid to get through. And I think in times of uncertainty and need, when you feel like you're not certain what to do, you want to reach out and help. I think you think about that in your own life when, someone's going through a rough time, you want to bring them a meal, or you want to, send them a note, or, try to make their life better in some way.
Right.
And really the only way that us as fans could get to Damar Hamlin was to donate to his charity. And so I thought that was really a beautiful gesture of humanity.
Unbelievable. And it just goes to show you, I think some sports fans all over, they're just unbelievable, really, when it comes down to it. So let's just keep doing that.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there. I think that for the competitive nature that fans have, for the most part, that's really where humanity lives. There's a lot of humanity in a shared cause, even if you're on separate teams. I think that's really something to take away from.
Yeah.
You can have different viewpoints and want different outcomes, and you can even be a bit brash and jackassery in the heat of the moment. But, at the end of the day, when the game... I think about it all the time when I watch these coaches shake hands, especially in the playoffs. Like, your season's over, and they're running up, hey, man, a good game, you called a lot. And I think to myself, man, I don't know if I'm emotionally mature enough to be like, hey, great job, thanks for beating me. Like, not be hot, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I think sports are great for showing the humanity of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, except for Richard Sherman's Crabtree comments there in 2013.
No, I love that.
You love that? It's still good TV, man.
Still good TV.
It's still good TV. Well,
you got to give them 5 minutes to cool off. You can't just jam the mic in somebody's face. You got to let them, you got to be able to separate the loss or the win.
Oh, that was still amazing. Well, I think that brings us to the end here, I think.
Once again.
Yeah.
Boys demend it.
Ooh. I see what you did.
See
what you did there.
It's nice and slick like that. Okay, kids. Sean and Brad coming from the West Coast. PNW, Whidbey Island to be exact. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Subscribe, talk to us, let us know what's going on. We got some feedback. Oh, I would say this. We got some feedback this week, and sorry about picking Mbop for the World Cup based on his PSG affiliation when Messi also was on PSG. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I should have just went that Mbop was a good, catchy song, and that's what drew me in. I don't know. Anyway, either way, I was wrong. I hate Messi because he's a self-proclaimed goat. Same way I hate Tom Brady. Until next time, kids, be good or be good at it.
Righto.